So because I've been gone for a while, I decided to we introduced a new format last time where we're going to kind of address some of the behavioral stuff and the cognitive stuff to underline, actually produce some change with you guys, not simply educating. So I'm going to continue with that kind of like theme thread. We're going to start a new series. I'm calling it How to Live Forever. This will be the first lecture. And it's going to be addressing issues with how to keep your body functioning optimally in the face of aging. And so, is this not going forward for me today? That's no fun. That would make a lot of sense. Okay. So, this is a famous painting depicting the fountain of youth, which has been something that humans have been obsessing over since the medieval type ages. You guys might have seen Pirates of the Caribbean or movies like that, where the Spanish in particular in the 15th century were very fascinated with this concept of the fountain of youth. Something that could, by drinking and playing in this fountain, you would be eternally youthful. And that's kind of like this almost internal struggle that all humans have. We want to be around forever. We have this gift of life, and we want to maximize it. It's been an obsession for a lot of people. And so I guess it's our job here is whether or not we want to live forever is to maximize the years here on Earth. Meaning, there's a certain point in people's lives, midlife, that health starts to decline. I'm here to tell you today that that is a choice. That is a choice, not an effect. And so that's what we're going to figure out, how to optimize your health into the future. Looking at yourself as an investment, what things can we do, why do we age, and how can we change things? So, quick review from last session. This was a quote from Jonathan Haidt, who wrote the book, The Happiness Hypothesis. To change behavior, you got to direct the rider, motivate the elephant, and shape the path. We talked about this kind of stuff, so we're going to be threading that through today. So addressing the rider is going to be the educational component. That's where we're going to start. And today, it's going to be on how your body ages and what are the exercise nutritional interventions we can do to prevent that process. So today, these are the three things that we're going to be talking about in the future on rider-type topics. Today, it's going to be on nutrition supplementation, particularly in the face of aging. What can we do to stop that? And so here's a pretty interesting time-lapse photography of this guy. And this is what happens. And when you throw it up like that, you can see the body undergoes dramatic changes over a span of, it looks like about 40 years here. But why does this happen? Why does this happen? So here I put together a little cycle chart for you guys on why we age. And to start, we're going to look pretty much at phase one here, hormonal changes. We know about menopause, we know about andropause. These are things that we know happen. And there may be an evolutionary basis for decreasing hormones midlife, whether it's being more adaptive socially or the fact that once our bodies have passed a reproductive age, they tend to just shut down. So, but we do know these hormonal changes happen. Secondly, as people get older, there's body disuse. People stop moving as much. And finally, and this is the big player that you guys are going to, this will be the take home of the day, oxidative damage. Pretty much, I'd say about 5 years ago was the #1 reason people were saying it's the only reason we age. If we minimize oxidative damage, we have a capacity to live, for a very, very, very long time. So let's look at hormonal changes first. Our bodies are hormonal symphonies. Guys and girls, we have the same kind of things going on. We have main players you guys might know, testosterone, estrogen. These are two main hormones that drive a lot of our metabolic processes. These things decline around 45 and 50, which is kind of unfortunate because it throws off a lot of our biological processes. So we want to attenuate this and we want to maximize the second half of life. So let's look at females real fast. These are, Tiffany, it's a special for you today. These are your 4 hormones. These are pretty much what run the system for you. You have estradiol, which is pretty much estrogen. It's what we call estrogen. This is your predominant female hormone. It runs the show. As you can see, normal levels within this 25 to 75 picograms per milliliter. In menopause, just tanks drops off. Something you want to avoid. As you can see, these hormones down here, without getting too complex into this picture, are regulating your body. Whether it's luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, these two are basically determining whether or not you can produce eggs. So for guys, it's a very similar story. Testosterone runs the show. This decreases. So normal levels are 350 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. Now, you guys are going to find this fascinating, that each generation, guys are getting lower testosterone on a generational trend. So you guys, in your generation, have more testosterone endogenously than me. You have less than your grandparents. My kids are going to have less than me. And the reason this is happening is through genetic manipulation from some of the pesticides and stuff that's doing damage to our genes. If you even look at testicle size, which is a pretty funny study, your dad had bigger balls than you guys, and his dad had bigger balls than him. And down the line,
Technically speaking.
technically, well, I guess literally speaking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can go into the psychological
I'm feeling a
factors.
little awkward here.
Are you? Not at all. I mean, but the point is, like, we can see the environmental impact that the way we're living is having upon our core biology. It's a dangerous trend. And like, if we want to take it from a female perspective, a lot of the hormones that we're adding to foods early in life, like particularly the milk and meat products, girls are hitting like puberty at like 10, like 10, 11 years old. Like, it's just, this hasn't been seen.
Right.
It's a product of these environmental things. So, the point of the picture I'm painting here is that the hormones are critical, and we got to figure out what we can do to regulate these hormones.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't, like, women and men, so I would need, or I have testosterone.
You have testosterone as well,
They
so-
have estrogen.
They have estrogen as well. And they're both important. I guess you can think of it as like inverse ratios. So for you, you have a lower level of testosterone, higher level of estrogen. Guys, inverse that way. You typically, females have about 20 to 70 nanograms per deciliter. If we look back on testosterone, guys are in this 350 to 1,000 range.
Oh.
And this also comes out on the basis why girls just really can't get bulky from weight training. You guys just don't have the testosterone to do it. So we take a guy on the low end, like let's say around, like really out of the range, 100. He has more testosterone than girls with the highest levels of testosterone.
So, with the women bodybuilders and stuff, do they?
They take exogenous testosterone, anabolic steroids, to get their levels over 1,000.
They
So,
start like a man.
yeah, and that's exactly what happens. You get a masculinization of the body because they have the same hormone levels that guys have. So it's really, I mean, and that's the thing that girls don't understand with the weight training. Oh, I'm gonna get big and bulky. You don't have a chance. And from guys who weight train, trust me, it was that easy to wake up and be like, damn, bicep workout worked, I'm jacked after one day. It just doesn't work like that.
Okay, I have a question though now, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering about it.
Go ahead.
My testosterone was really low.
Yeah.
So they have me on some cream stuff to get
Okay.
higher. Now, am I gonna get all like crazy big?
No, not a chance.
Working out.
Because they put the cream's fine.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll talk to you about that. What they're giving, I'm guessing without even looking at your prescription, is exogenous testosterone.
Okay.
Now, they're going to keep you in the ranges. The reason I have issues with the creams for replacement is that you can't really regulate the amount that's actually getting delivered. You know what I mean? It's kind of random. It's saying do this, and there's a lot of transdermal issues with delivery. But fact is, the dose they're prescribing you is just getting you into the normal ranges.
Okay.
Let's say if you took a shower in the cream, you wake up with a beard. But
I was like so nervous about this
No.
because I'm putting it on my wrist just in case anything weird happens.
yeah, no,
I don't want to go.
the importance is to get your blood levels checked. You
Yeah,
know?
that's-
How do you know? Like, you don't just get the cream and then never get it checked again.
Yeah.
Make sure you're at the right levels. Okay, so body disuse. And this could be, I'm not sure what the cause effect of this is, but maybe you have low hormones, you feel lethargic, so you stop moving. And this is the typical picture we have of the older person. You know, very frail, not using their body. I mean, this is personally not how I want to age, but this is pretty much what a lot of people have resigned themselves to through body disuse. Finally, oxidative damage. And this will be like, the ears perk up. This is what I really want to teach you guys about today. So, we know that I've talked about fat burning. And this process is called beta oxidation, burning fat. It's what really provides energy. You guys are runners. If you're running below your lactic acid threshold, which lactic acid threshold meaning like a sprinting type anaerobic activities. If you're doing your marathon type running, which is typically aerobic, you're burning fat as fuel in the presence of oxygen. Your mitochondria, these guys, are what would do that. They run the show. They take those fatty acids, they go through this thing called the electron transport chain, and they produce ATP and energy. Now this process is awesome. We're burning fat, we're getting energy. But something goes wrong occasionally, and we produce these things called free radicals. And now these can happen endogenously from your mitochondria making free radicals, or exogenously from foods that you eat. Sometimes chemicals contain free radicals. And what these are chemically are compounds with one electron. They're very unstable. They fly throughout the body and they bump into things to steal electrons, creating more free radicals. And what this does, the big problem with this, is it damages your tissues. When it runs into DNA, it damages the DNA. You have damaged DNA that produces damaged mitochondria that produce more free radicals. This oxidative damage is what kills people, and also why antioxidants are such a big deal, because we want to minimize the oxidative damage and stress from our diets. Now, this is essentially why we age, because over time we produce more free radicals, we get worse at metabolizing those free radicals, and it breaks down our tissues, and we get older. If we can prevent this, if we can prevent free radical action, and if we can keep our mitochondria healthy and have as many as possible, we live forever, is basically what it comes down to. And I'm going to talk about ways to do that. You guys are lucky you're runners, because that's one of the fountain of youth, incredibly.
Real quick, just to understand your picture of the mitochondria.
Mitochondria, correct.
That is part of
a cell.
Of the cell. That's
Okay, so
in the cell.
This is actually really cool. So this is, the way they designed this graphic, and it's a great question, is they're showing this little thing to
the cell wall.
Magnify this. This is any given cell.
Right.
This is a quarter of any given cell. It is surrounded by these fats, this phospholipid membrane. And mitochondria are inside the cells, are the energy houses of every cell. And so from an evolutionary perspective, how did this happen? It's actually fascinating, just a tidbit of information. Cells, at somewhere down the line, one of these big cells actually swallowed a mitochondria. Mitochondria is its own thing. It's the only thing in the body that has its own DNA. You have your DNA, but you also have mitochondrial DNA. So somewhere down the line, a big cell, a eukaryotic cell like this, swallowed this tiny mitochondria, and symbiosis occurred. And they just allow along, and the mitochondria lives inside, and it makes energy for you, and it gets fat for fuel. So this is how it works. And through exercise, you can increase the health and number of mitochondria that you have, which is awesome, because it also gives you the ability to produce more energy, one, and fight oxidation, two. So they have to be healthy mitochondria. Now, here's the adaptation cycle. We want to optimize hormones, we want to promote body use, and we want to minimize that oxidation. That's what essentially we'll be teaching today. Liz, you didn't miss much because we're just getting into the to-dos, not the to-not-dos. So we want to minimize the oxidation.